Hi, today we're doing something a little different. Steve Kaufman here, of course, along with my son Mark. For those
Hi,
of
everyone.
you, for those of you who don't know, Mark is the CEO of Link. He's the one who decides what we're going to do. He organizes people on 5 continents that work for Link, programmers and designers and a great team of people and so forth. And so I'm very excited today to be able to interview Mark, or he interviews me, and we talk about LingQ 5.0, which is finally launched. It was launched on the mobile app a little while ago, and now it's launched on the browser. Mark, could you maybe introduce some of the things that are in LingQ 5.0?
Sure. Obviously, we just finally pushed our web version 5 a few days ago, and so it's obviously there's been a lot of discussion on the forum. We had the iOS, of course, version has been available for probably a month and a half now. Android also has been released more or less recently to most users at the same time as the web app. So there are a lot of comments on the forum. Some people really like it. Some people are having trouble getting used to it. As always happens when changes are made to any software product. Obviously, we're aware that for those people who really like the way LingQ 4.0 worked, some love the change. Others are wondering why we made changes, and so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to explain why we did some of the things we did and what some of the benefits are to version 5 that probably may not all be obvious right at first blush.
Well, what I'd like to start in with is I am very enthusiastic about LingQ 5.0, and I'm more of a user. Mark is the one who put a lot of thought together with his team into what we should have there. What I see with LingQ 5.0 is it's sort of like a new start for Link. It's a more exciting way of getting at content, better organized, more motivating, a platform which allows Link to develop new functions going forward. It's a totally new product that's not immediately obvious to people. So I'm excited about it, but I think it would be worthwhile to hear from Mark in some detail about some of the things that are there. But bear in mind that you have to get in there and use them, overcome the strangeness of new features in order to fully appreciate the extent to which this is really a much more powerful way of learning languages without realizing that you're learning. And that's what I take away from LingQ 5.0.
Absolutely. And I think when we started out to make LingQ 5.0, in effect, worth pointing out that version 5, unlike version 4, is at least the core components of LingQ on the web were completely rewritten from scratch, which we haven't done in a long time. And both the mobile apps were also more or less rewritten from scratch. So significantly different than when we went from version 3 to version 4. And a big part of the reason why was we wanted to have a more stable platform that was easier to develop upon. I mean, the fact is that LingQ's been around a long time, and we've had a lot of versions, and as you evolve and iterate, it ends up being tougher and tougher to improve upon what's there, because things have been built on top of other things, which were built on top of other things, and so at a certain point we needed to have a fresh start. And when we then went to do that, it gave us an opportunity to look at a lot of the things that we have done over the years and to try and kind of streamline things and make things clearer, both functionality-wise and in the way that some of the things work on the site. So I know that one of the things you're quite excited about these days is the coins and how our goal for maintaining your streak is no longer measured or is set in terms of links, but in fact set in terms of coins. You can earn coins by creating links, moving words up in status, reading and listening. So there are many more ways of earning coins, and so that maybe I'll let you continue.
Well, I mean, any of you who have followed my YouTube channel, you know that I often use this metaphor of the racing dogs who chase a mechanical rabbit. And anytime you can create something that people are, keen on doing for whatever reason, so they're chasing this thing, and as a result, they're learning. So to me, having coins, which you can't buy anything at the grocery store with the coins, but these are points that accumulate. And in the past, if I was only getting credit for, say, creating links, but I was going through a period where I wasn't creating new links because I was reviewing old material, or I was doing a lot of listening, or I was moving some of my status 2 or 3 words to known, I was getting no credit for that. Whereas now, it's sort of merged into one single unit that we follow, coins. And so if I, as I have now done, I'll go into my vocabulary list and I will select out status 3 words, and I'll move a lot of them to known, and I get lots of coins for doing that. And whereas I'm normally washing the dishes and listening, now I'm also getting coins for listening. And in fact, I don't know all the details, but a wider range of activities generate coins. And so you follow your progress and your activity level, but it's not limited to just a couple of things like creating links. And I find that strangely motivating.
The coins is one area where we tried to make things easier to understand for people. In the past, we've had the activity score, we've had the activity apple, we had a links target for your streak, we had coins. So, as I say, in terms of simplification, what we've done is we've now gotten rid of the activity score, which used to be the measure of how active you were for the last 30 days, and that determined the color of your activity apple. We've done away with the apple and that activity score, and instead we're just going to use coins. So we're again trying to simplify. Based on the number of coins you've earned in the last 30 days, your streak indicator will also change color like the activity apple did before. So just a small example of a place where we tried to kind of make things simpler, because the reality is for new users, there was a lot to learn, and so the danger in software is always to keep building stuff and new features and feature creep, as they say. And so here we're trying to declutter a bit, make things less intimidating for new users, and at the same time trying to, as you say, have more activities count towards
exactly
the measure that you're trying to move the needle on.
I mean, to me, it's so important to be active with the language. That's the number one thing. I mean, we will progress more quickly at some times or for some languages than with others. But if we're active, we're going to get somewhere. And encouraging us to be engaged in a number of different kinds of activities. And we'll see later how it's become easier now to do a variety of things where you are engaged with the language, moving forward in the language, getting credit for this in your coins. And I think that's going to motivate more people and keep them more active with sort of less frustration. So I'm quite excited about that.
We've also made some changes to the way we track listening and reading. So we're no longer... It used to be that you had to finish a reading a lesson and then you got credit for having read it one time. And just like when you were listening to the audio, you got credit if and when the audio file finished playing, you got credit for having listened to it one time. Whereas now we're tracking in real time, so anytime you listen, it's being tracked, and if you listen for 30 seconds, then you'll see 30 seconds added to your listening right away, which, obviously when you're measuring coins for your daily streak, there's no point giving you credit for listening to or reading a lesson when it takes you a week, and we give you credit for having read it on the 7th day. That doesn't help you on the previous 6 days. It doesn't contribute to your coins goal. So we track in real time now.
One thing that has improved is the ability to timestamp in sentence mode. And so I've been listening to this, in sentence mode, this Jordanian, Levantine Arabic cartoon series. And very often, it seems like they cut off, at the beginning of the whatever it was. It seems like it should have started half a second earlier, or it should have gone on a half a second later, or a second later. And so every time I listen to it, I'm listening to it over and over again in order to capture just when that particular audio that corresponds to that sentence, what is the actual audio snippet that I want there. And every time I listen, I'm listening. And so again, it's this idea that I'm sort of induced to get involved in these other activities for whatever reason, because I want to capture the accurate sound file, which, by the way, anyone who comes after me will benefit from. But as I'm doing that, I listen to it 3 or 4 times, I'm listening. And so it's just another example of how we do things for a variety of reasons, but the net effect is we're more active in the language and we're learning.
And the fact of the matter is, a lot of those changes that we made related to time stamping, here we're talking about editing a sentence. So when you're in sentence mode, there's an option to edit the sentence. That in itself, I think, is a significant improvement, and maybe particularly for, like, I'm studying Japanese right now. So particularly when you're studying Japanese, you very often want to edit incorrect word splits, something that can't be helped in the end. So it's easy, edit that sentence, make a quick change, save that sentence, keep linking. Whereas before you had to edit the lesson, wait for that page to load, find the spot in the text where you want to fix a split, save it, make your way back to where you were. So that's a small change that I think will have a significant impact. And there again, it allows us to provide a better system, once we've made the edit, a better system of timestamping, which has many benefits. And that was something that for years people were asking for. Hey, can you have the text match the audio file, move along with the audio in some way so that we can follow along? And obviously to do that is a lot of effort, requires timestamping. Now, in the meantime, technology's come a long way where a lot of the time now we can either import the timestamps from services like YouTube, or there are tools that will compare the audio file with the text and automatically timestamp, and we've implemented some of those things in the new version as well. And then these tools then allow you to fine-tune those timestamps, or in some cases, some languages, Japanese is an example, some languages don't have the automated timestamping, so they're at least give you a better tool for manually timestamping lessons. And some users, some content providers will want to do that. And just an improvement, and what it does is it lets us, for example, obviously more easily play that audio snippet in sentence mode. So instead of text-to-speech audio in sentence mode, you're getting that timestamp segment from the actual audio file. And then one of the major new innovations as well is this listening mode, which is an audio playing mode where if you click the audio player, there's an option in the audio player to expand that view and see the listening mode, which is functions very similarly to a lyrics mode and a music app like Apple Music or Spotify, so that you'll see the text that you're listening to, and the text, if the timestamping is correct, the text will actually highlight and move along as you listen. So those are significant improvements, all kind of related to this timestamping, sentence editing. A lot of these changes that we've made all kind of impact in many ways.
There's lots of fun things that, like, I discovered that in sentence mode, which I use a lot, especially in Persian and Arabic, which I still find very difficult to read. Lo and behold, someone has gone in there and put translations in. I was doing this Arabic series in Korean and Turkish, which are both languages that I have studied. So I not only hear this in Arabic and then I see the English translation, if I'm interested, I can also turn them off, but I can see the Korean and the Turkish. Now, if someone puts in a French translation, I'll see the French translation.
Well, the reality is you'll only see those if you edit that sentence.
Oh, well, how did I see that? Anyway.
Because you edited the sentence.
Oh, okay.
If your I believe dictionary language is set to Turkish, then you'll see the Turkish.
Oh, I see. Okay. Right. Anyway, I saw 3 of them. Anyway, surprises, whatever. Okay, what else have you got?
The first thing that will strike people when they open LingQ 5 is that the library looked considerably different. And we actually felt that the old library was a bit of a weak point for version 4. We didn't do a great job, or at least in our new version, we feel like we do a much better job of surfacing the content, better content to keep people engaged, to help people make sure people can find content more easily.
External
find the
links.
content they like. And we have far more links to external sources of content, because obviously the importing feature, which is a very powerful and important component of Link, is great if you know where to find content, but it's not always that easy, especially if you're just starting out or the ability for us to source content is just much greater than for individuals. I mean, we have, not that we're doing it ourselves. I mean, many members of our community are great at sourcing content and sharing that information on the forum with us, obviously. We have our volunteer librarians, and we have our of course our own internal content people, and everybody together is working hard to find the best content out there so that we can present it in our library and our new format, which we feel looks a lot nicer and presents things a lot better, and then also has much more variety of content, and then more of these external sources of content.
There are some issues we've discovered. We had a long beta, a QA testing period, but there's so many different browsers and monitor sizes that there have been some issues, which we're going to go about resolving and in the lesson page. Again, what makes me excited is we've rewritten it all, as Mark says, and we have a platform now where we can not only twig any issues that are, have been identified in our new LingQ 5.0, but the ability now to develop further with new ideas and taking advantage of all the different things that are out there that are making language learning more fun, more motivating for people, less resistance, less frustration, less charging around trying to look for content. It's exciting. For me, it's exciting.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, a big focus for us was trying to simplify with this update, try to reduce the clutter, make things less intimidating. There are users who aren't that happy with some of the changes because they were used to the previous interface, and some elements of it were more convenient. There are other elements that were less convenient. In the end, I think one of the big benefits when you talk about improving things is as we move forward, we intend to introduce more and more customization so that people can set up their library, set up their reader, how they would like to see it, and so that it's no longer one size fits all. So more and more customization, which I think should hopefully resolve a lot of the issues that some users are reporting.
I think too, as people get in and they discover things like, we could go on forever, like the multiple playlists, a whole bunch of other things like that. I suspect we will get more and more requests for customization. And I guess in the new platform, we'll be better able to accommodate that.
We get those requests all the time, and
right.
We had them for version 4 too, and we just felt like we can't keep making those kinds of improvements in version 4 on that platform. It just was too restrictive and too time consuming. That was a big driver for the changes that we made. And there are lots of other things. The multiple playlists is something that people have asked for forever, or at least a way to organize content. So now you can, if you want to organize your songs into a songs playlist, or whatever you want to do, you can use the playlist to play the audio, but you can also just use the playlist to organize lessons and courses. It's up to you, but there you have a tool for organizing your library. In addition, even like dark mode, light mode, something we've been asked for a long time. So that is there, and which looks great. I really like the way the dark mode works. I have it set to automatically switch based on our computer settings. So light mode set to be on during the day and dark mode at night.
By the way, importing is a lot easier in the new system. I do a lot of importing, and I find it's a lot more convenient, a lot more intuitive.
You mean the actual import page?
Page, yes.
Yeah, we tried to clean that up too. It's much simpler. I mean, we had a lot of functionality built on top of functionality in the old view. One thing that's not yet in the web version, but is in iOS, and can't remember if it's in Android yet or not, but will be on all platforms, and that is the full text to speech. So any lessons that you import that have no audio, you will be able to generate at least a text to speech audio version of that lesson. So that'll be great. Yeah. Besides that, I guess small things in the reader. There's that words pop up, which shows when you first open a lesson, or if you click away from a word, which has shows a list of all your blue words, shows a list of
there's all kinds of little
your links, and actually shows you a list of all the words in the lesson, which we've never shown before. So there you can actually see all the known words that you've told us that you never created links for. So that was something that people actually asked us for all the time.
Yeah, that's very handy.
Which we've never provided before. So it's just interesting, and you can see what words are there, what statuses they have, which words you told us you knew. Anyway, there's lots of little things there. And
I encourage people to use different, now especially since you get credit for it in terms of coins, go to the vocab section. One of the things that I like to do is go there and select out my status 3 words, and I can look at them by frequency so that the most frequent words will show up at the top, or I can look at them in alphabetical order, which even for Persian or Arabic, there's some kind of an alphabetical order. And that has the advantage that you'll see related words that have, the same prefix sort of thing will show up, 3, 4, 5, 6 words that are related to each other. It all helps. And as you're doing this, and maybe moving some words from status 1 to status 2, or status 2 to 3, or to known, you're getting coins all the time. So I encourage people to really explore all the things that are there. If some of the favored features that you find are not as convenient for you in the new LingQ 5, let us know. But at the same time, please be patient. I think what we've done here is create something with tremendous opportunity for development going forward. So please take the time to explore it and let us know your...
I think the reality is that we've been using, LingQ 5 internally. I don't know.
It's been a year.
LingQ 4 for over a year on iOS, and on Android and web. It's just
much better.
I don't want to be in version 4, and so, but obviously I've been exposed to it a lot longer, and have used it a lot longer. But there's you end up in version 4, and it just feels. It's just less. It's version 5 is
less
just familiar. Is a big step forward, and we know you're going to love it,
right?
Like we do, and look forward to obviously hearing your comments and your thoughts on some of the things we talked about today. Yeah. Very exciting time for us here at Link, and we're really happy to have it at launch, because it did take us a while. But as Steve says, we're set up for further enhancement now, and looking forward to what the future will bring.
Thank you for listening through this description, and please enjoy the new link.
Thanks, everyone.